Now, let me introduce Mr. Naveen Desai, Director of Operations at Revima, Thailand. He brings valuable downstream decades of industry experience, particularly in aerospace and advanced manufacturing applications. Mr. Desai, at this stage, I would like to broaden the discussion beyond market fundamentals and pricing dynamics to also look at how aluminum is being positioned and consumed by downstream industries. Mr. Naveen, we look forward to hearing from you your perspective, and with that, over to you.
Thank
Let's
you,
have a
Bina.
discussion.
Thank you, Bina. First of
Thank you.
all, uh, First of all, how the session went off. I'm really grateful to understand many things because, as you, Bina Madam, you clearly said, I come up with a consumer perspective, especially in terms of aerospace. And I'm really thankful to Chandrasekhar sir, Dr. Anupam ji, and Ms. Neha Chin, and also Sanjay sir. The information you shared is really, really helpful. So, from my perspective, I'll be able to share a bit of consumer side because I have spent mostly more than two decades in aerospace manufacturing. So aluminum is something which we kind of see, touch every day. So first, I'll start up with some information or some of the things which practically we face. So, coming back to specifically aerospace and aluminum linkage. So, aluminum is still considered as the backbone for aerospace. There has been information shared in the media that there are some high tech materials coming in, like titanium or glass composites or carbon composites. That is true. How the aerospace industry evolves is industry is more than 100 years old and basically built with aluminum as the core metal. So yes, evolutions have happened, and these kind of uh, high-tech materials have their own unique characteristics which are definitely good. But aerospace is such a stringent industry. When you start to change something, so today I'm using aluminum and tomorrow I want to use the same part as composites. The first thing is, generally aircraft flies for 30 years, and the change when we have to do, we call it as DOEs, like design of experiments, and they are generally not quick. Like I decide something, I cannot change tomorrow. It sometimes takes decades, aging tests. So still, in spite of the high tech materials coming in, aluminum still stands a high role in aerospace, and especially when you see wide bodies and narrow bodies. Like narrow bodies, I mean, is A320s and Boeing 737. They still carry a high percentage of aluminum. And when you see demand, see what we were 100 years back and what we are today, the percentage of aluminum might have dropped by 5% or 10%. But you see the volume, like how many number of aircrafts used to produce 100 years back and today. Even though the volume of per aircraft might have reduced 10%, but the volume of production has gone almost 30 to 40% more. So it straight away creates the demand perspective for aerospace. And some of the unique things or unique characteristics which aluminum possesses and which is core for aerospace industry is aluminum is considered one of the best metal when you come to a strength versus its weight. So obviously anything that flies, it's preferred to be lighter, but has to possess its strength. So if you find a perfect ratio of these two, aluminum is a metal. And aluminum on top of that has advantages in terms of machinability. Aluminum possesses its own strength in terms of corrosion resistance, fatigue strength, and on top of all of this, giving everything, aluminum is the still cheapest metal as compared to other metals. So, as all the intellectuals were mentioning rightly, aluminum production has its own challenges. But when you see purely the aluminum metal which is used for aerospace market, still 60 to 70% of production of those kind of aluminum is still associated with Europe and US being the pioneers of this business. So still, Southeast Asia stands at a high import level. So still we have to import aluminium, and that still possesses a challenge in terms of turnaround time and cost. And why is that we cannot ramp up the production of aluminium metal in Southeast Asia? Because when it comes to aerospace material, it's not just purely producing the material. It has some associated special process and treatments like what do you call stress relief, the tempering, the T6 requirements. Those requirements take long time for accreditations. Like for example, if we have to produce aluminium material with its specific uh, heat treatment and all requirements, we have to go for the normal accreditations, then you have to go for a NADCAP accreditations, then we have to go for a ESA. All those kind of requirements are still time consuming. This is in general about how aluminium is linked to aerospace market. So if I want to quickly brief up how the demand for material is, as rightfully everybody is saying, it is going up. And for aerospace, the ramp up rate is even at a higher pace. If I take the horizon of aluminium demand for the last 5 years and coming 10 years, like if you see the window of 15 years, standing here, back 5, front 10. As we all know, 1920 was the year wherein the demand for aerospace aluminium got drastically down. Actually, it was not down, it was a temporary pause, I would say, because of the pandemic. And 22 and 24 to 24, the demand started to creep up to the normal levels. When you see 2025, we stand at almost 10,000 aircrafts overdue that we have to produce. And that covers upcoming 8 to 10 years of manufacturing capacity. So today we stand at a backlog of 8 to 10 years. So that much is the demand perspective of aluminium. And if I want to give a bit of insight on how it plays to the manufacturing level, like if I'm a manufacturing company, you know, the strategies work differently for if you're a big player versus if you're a medium scale to a small scale player. If the OEMs and the big players in the market, how they work generally is they kind of do a process called hedging, wherein those kind of big players lock the price and lock the volume with the manufacturing mills directly. So whatever the material available, the big portion is already taken by the big players. And the challenge is left out with medium to small players, which is the majority of Indian market. So I'm not saying India don't have big players. India do have big players, but if you see percentage, we have still the medium to small scale companies where you cannot do really hedging because you don't have the volume to hedge. And the option becomes we have to go with the distributors because it is low volume, high mix. When the medium to low scale manufacturers go for procuring the aluminium with distributors, definitely you are taking it from not the manufacturer, so the price goes at a higher level. So as the price is increasing for aluminium in India, it is generally increasing more than the market because of not everybody can do hedging. Still you have to believe on distributors. So the demand is increasing, parallelly the challenge on the price is also increasing. So India has now taken some initiatives that I was seeing, like most of the distributors, they're consolidating the volume so that the warehouses and all can be set in India so that we eliminate the logistic delays and all those challenges. So in terms of quickly going through the certification, which is one of the challenge I was mentioning. In aerospace, we generally say if you make a part and the paperwork is not same as your weight of your part, it's not aerospace. Like there's a huge set of documentations, accreditations involved with aerospace market, which we call it generally a back to birth, because back to birth are kind of key documents wherein you get the safety and sustainability of the aerospace parts. Because end of the day, if something happens after 30 years, we should be able to track back what happened 30 years back, who manufactured it, which shift, what was the composition of aluminium, what was the composition of other parameters, what was the temperature setup. So these kind of complex requirements make the market even tighter for the aerospace market. And as with the time restrictions, means I prepared more things, but it has a challenge of time. So I'm always open for the questions. And in short, I want to end up like, even though the markets go up and down and the trends go up and down with high-tech material, but still aluminum material for aerospace keeps flying high.